Hello, boys and girls. So, today we have another story for you from Sweden. And I don't know how many of you actually know some twins or triplets. And do you know what their names are? Flicka, Ricka, and Dicka all rhyme. Some people name their twins and triplets with rhyming names. But then I saw I have a bunch of boys watching my stories. And I found that Maj Lindman also wrote stories about triplet boys. Their names are Snip, Snap, and Snur. That means they all start with the same letter, but they don't rhyme. Snip, Snap, and Snur, three little boys who lived in Sweden. They were on their way home from school one winter afternoon. It was snowing hard. Each boy had on his warmest red cap and red sweater, and high brown boots. As they passed a shop window, Snip said, "Look at that bright yellow sled." "It's as yellow as gold," said Snap. "It's long enough for three boys just our size to ride on at the very same time," said Snur. "Look at that steering wheel. Couldn't we have fun?" The three boys stood in the window, each wishing for the bright yellow sled more than anything else in the world. Remember, it's cold up in Sweden. Some of you, it's still cold where you're living and you're just waiting for spring to come. So I thought I'd read you one more winter story. As they turned away from the window and walked slowly down the street, Snap said, "Let's ask Father to buy it for us." "You know it costs a lot," said Snip. "Just think how much money he spent for our new winter boots." "We better ask Mother to help us earn it," said Snur. "That's a good idea," said Snap. "Let's hurry home and ask her," said Snur. Snip, Snap, and Snur ran home. They went into the house and straight to the kitchen where they found Mother drying dishes. "Mother dear, we have seen a bright yellow sled," said Snip. "It's as yellow as gold," said Snap. "It has a steering wheel," said Snur, "and it's long enough so we could all ride it together." "How nice," said Mother, smiling. "We thought maybe you could tell us a way to earn it," said Snip. Mother thought a moment. Then she said, "If you will help me in every way you can for 2 weeks, I am sure Father and I will feel that you have earned enough money for the sled." After a long talk, it was decided that Snip should be the first one to get up each morning to put on the tea kettle. Early the next morning, Snip yawned, stretched, and hopped out of bed. He ran to the kitchen and put the tea kettle on, thinking all the while about the bright yellow sled. Snip, Snap, and Snur hurried home from school the next day. They were ready to help Mother. Snip sat down to peel the potatoes. Snap went to the store with the big market basket to buy all the things on Mother's list. Snur stirred the soup on the stove so that it would not burn. "How glad I am that Snap has gone to the store," said Mother. "Now I won't have to go out." As she spoke, Snap came into the door. The basket he carried was full of packages. Tea, sugar, butter, salt. He carried a loaf of bread under his arm. "When we get that yellow sled, we can bring the groceries home on it," said Snap. "This basket is heavy." Early Saturday morning, Mother asked Snur to scrub the back stairs. He filled the pail with warm water. He found soap and a scrub brush with a long handle. Then he started up the back stairs. Perhaps the pail was too full. Perhaps the soap slipped out of his hand and he tried to catch it. Perhaps he only stumbled over the long handle of the brush. But down the stairs he tumbled, and with the bucket, brush, soap, and water. When Mother saw he wasn't hurt, she said, "Never mind, Snur. All things are hard in the beginning." Snap said, "Well, now the stairs are wet, so your work's half done." Snip helped Snur wipe the stairs dry after they were scrubbed clean. Do you ever want to help and you make a bigger mess for your mom, but you mean to do it well? That's all that Jesus asks, is that we do our best. That afternoon, Mother said, "Please dust the books in the library. First, take each book down from the shelf, wipe it carefully with a clean, soft cloth. When the shelves are empty, dust them. Then put each book back where you found it." "What fun!" said Snap as he began handing the books down from the highest shelf to Snip. Mother left them dusting books and talked talking about the yellow sled while she went to tea with friends. When she came home at nearly sunset, she found books everywhere. There was books on the floor, and books on the table, and chairs. Snip lay flat on the floor reading. Snap stood near the table reading, and Snur sat on the ladder reading. The books were so interesting they forgot to finish cleaning. Do you ever do that? You get excited about what you're doing and you forget you were there to work? But the next day, Snip, Snap, and Snur put the books back on the shelf. Snur washed the brown stockings that the three boys always wore with their high brown boots. Remember, they live in Sweden and they dress differently than we do. Long ago, they wore short trousers with long socks under their boots. My, I didn't know we had so many stockings, said Snur to himself. The stockings were very dirty. Snur got the washboard. He used plenty of soap. He rubbed the stockings hard, up and down. He rubbed them on the right side. Then he turned them inside out and washed carefully on the wrong side. Then he washed out all the soap and water and hung them up to dry. Back then, they didn't have automatic washers like your mom has. They had to do it by hand. I must tell Snip and Snap not to get mud on their stockings, he said to himself. The very next day of the week was Mother's birthday. Snip, Snap, and Snur hurried home from school. Snip rushed out to buy flowers. Snap put the tea kettle on to make tea. Snur placed the birthday cake with which Father had bought on the cake plate. Do you remember when Flicker, Rick, and Dicka's mother had a birthday too? My mother just turned 80. When Snip came home with flowers, he said, "Let's go in now to wish Mother happy birthday." "You go first with the flowers," said Snap. "I'll come with the tea. Snur can carry the birthday cake." Snip opened the door. "Happy birthday, Mother," said the three little boys. "This is indeed a happy birthday," replied Mother. Now one bright Saturday morning, Mother said, "You boys have helped me in every way I have asked. You have earned that yellow sled. Shall we go to the store today?" "Yes, let's," said Snip. "That is fine, Mother," said Snap. "Thank you," Snur quickly added. Mother put on her hat and coat. The three boys had their warmest red caps and red sweaters. Of course, they wore their high boots. Then they all went down the street to the shop where the yellow sled was for sale. When they reached the store, Mother went in. Snip, Snap, and Snur stood outside looking in the window. "Just think, it's ours," said Snip. "Won't we have fun?" said Snap. "Oh, it's worth all the work," said Snur. Suddenly the boys heard a sound. They turned to look. Near the window stood a little boy. He was crying. "What's the matter?" asked Snip. "I want that sled so very much," he said. "I've never had a sled." "Won't your father buy you a sled?" asked Snap. "He can't," answered the boy. "We don't have enough money." Snip turned to Snap and Snur. "What about giving him our yellow sled?" he asked. "He's too little to earn enough money for a sled," said Snap. Mother came out of the shop. "Here's your sled, Snip, Snap, and Snur," she said. The boys looked at each other. Then Snip said to Mother, "We are big boys." "Yes," said Snap. "We are big boys and we have learned to work." "Mother," said Snur, "may we work to earn another sled? We would like to give ours to this little boy." When Mother understood, she took all four boys to the top of a snowy hill. Snip, Snap, and Snur helped the little boy get on the sled. Then Snap gave him a push, and away he went on the bright yellow sled. Do you think that cheered up the little boy that was crying? What fun the boys had on the hillside. "Thank you, oh thank you," said the little boy after every ride. "My brothers and sisters thank you too. We will have such good times. That bright yellow sled will be the most wonderful thing we've ever had." At last the three boys and Mother went home. Snip, Snap, and Snur went to work to earn a second bright yellow sled. For the next 2 weeks, when the three boys were doing all the things that Mother asked, one would say to the other, "Do you remember how happy that little boy looked on that bright yellow sled?" And Snip, Snap, and Snur were happy too. As we think about being a good steward of what we have, even if you're not old enough to work to earn money, if you have nice things that God has given you, nice toys, there's other ways that you can be sharing it with others who don't have it. Let's say your mom takes a meal to someone who just had a baby and their brothers and sisters are adjusting because mom is busy with a new baby. You could maybe take one of your toys, one of your special games or something along and say, here's something different for you to play with while you're adjusting with the new baby. And of being a good steward of your time, you can ask mom how you can help her. In the comments below, I'd love to hear what your name is and what is one of the chores that you do to help out your mom. That pleases Jesus when we're a good steward of our things and our time.